Last autumn, the Wolverhampton and Shrewsbury District set aside a modest amount of money to set up a small grant scheme. Anybody could apply through their circuit for up to £150, the money to be used for blessing the local community with the good news that God is with us. The scheme took off beyond our expectations. Every circuit took part, 27 different projects ran during Advent and Christmas, and now a follow-up scheme is running covering Valentine's Day and Mothering Sunday. During these past months, many churches have been more outward-facing than ever before. The grant scheme has played a part in that, but the most important factor has been the interruption to our normal way of being church. During lockdown, I have been reading Being Interrupted, Reimagining the Church's Mission from the Outside In by Al Barrett and Ruth Harvey. Al and Ruth describe 3 economies of church, using the word economy to think beyond just finance to the systematic ways in which people interact and participate. The first economy is described well by this diagram from the book, which Al and Ruth describe as counting in. The focus is on a church building, understood as the primary place where the gospel is proclaimed. Therefore, the aim of the congregation is to invite people to come inside. And I think it's fair to say that this describes the primary model of many churches in the district before the pandemic. However, with the closure of buildings, that model was drastically interrupted. Closing our buildings has brought much pain and loss, which I wouldn't want to easily gloss over. But it has also forced us into reimagining our mission and living within a new economy. The district grant scheme showed a definite movement towards a second economy, also described in the book, which Ruth and Al call giving out. There was an outpouring of gifts from the church into the local community. In the words of Sri Lankan Anglican Bishop Duleep Duchikura, in this economy, church members do not live for ourselves, and all our energy, all our gifts are directed to abundant life for the other. And so communities have been showered with gifts: knitted angels, mince pies, DIY Christingle in a bag, pamper packs for food bank clients, spring bulbs, advent booklets, and many more. As the process has unfolded, our ministry and missions coordinator, Jo Yare, has gently nudged people to be more courageous in how they express the love of God through the giving of gifts, encouraging people to explore the potential for prayer and relationship building alongside the giving. The projects have brought much delight, both to the recipients and to the givers of these gifts. It's helped people explore a new dynamic of being church that I hope will persist even once buildings are reopened. And I think the economy of giving out represents a dramatic improvement on a model based primarily on just counting in. And yet, the book, Being Interrupted, offers a critique even of this second model. In brief, a model in which the church is always giving and the community is always receiving can distort the way in which we see both ourselves and our neighbours. It reinforces an idea that we are the ones with the answers, we are the ones with the resources and the power to decide how they will be distributed. It can also make us oblivious to our own needs and what insights, skills and creativity the wider community can offer to the church. So I'm particularly interested in those God With Us projects, which have begun to move beyond the second economy towards a third model, in which the church both gives and receives, and the community is enabled to move beyond passive acceptance to active participation in the big story of God. Even small changes can make a difference. When Aldridge Methodist Church offered to deliver homemade afternoon teas on Valentine's Day, rather than determine the participants, they asked the community to nominate recipients. There was some risk in that, but as a result, they provided teas to women and children in a local domestic violence refuge with which the church had previously had no contact. In Dudley, local primary school children were invited to write prayers and draw pictures for the Christmas packs provided then to older people, the church thereby helping one part of the community to bless another. In Codsall, the Be an Angel project cited angels' wings murals at various locations in the village. It was open to the community to make their own images and make their own meanings in relation to these murals. Alongside this, the church offered practical suggestions as to how people could be an angel in their own lives over the Christmas period. And I've tried to model this third economy in projects I've run from home. Our street made its own nativity scene, which stood in a gazebo on our drive over Christmas. 24 neighbours received basic clay figures which they decorated and returned as witnesses to Jesus' birth. Others made local landmarks out of scrap so that it became a Wolverhampton nativity. People placed candles within the scene to remember loved ones, making their own prayers and associations within the Christmas story. Projects like this have transformed my relationship with our neighbours. The grant scheme has sparked a movement which is allowing us to learn by doing, by having a go, and by pushing our boundaries with a little more courage each time. It's a great training ground for the Fresh Expressions Multiplier programme, which the district is running as a pilot for the wider connection. In a recent conversation with a colleague, we agreed that the lockdown has illustrated what we have so often said, that the church is more than the building. But we wondered whether the church is also more than the congregation, whether we might understand the church as being a dynamic at work within the wider community, provoked by and rooted in the Christian faith, but spreading out like the branches of a tree, drawing in many different people as they participate in the dynamic of grace provoked through the gospel community. That's something I want to give some more time to thinking about.